So I wanted to start off first here, why mobile lifecycle management? Why is it so critical in organizations today? And from a journey perspective, I've typically seen, and we've all seen, a lot of mobile apps to consumers. And so that's kind of been the initial focus. We've seen that on the multiple app stores in the marketplace. But now we're starting to see the opportunity for enterprises are starting to look at how can we apply mobile most effectively in our internal environment to increase the overall productivity of our organization and overall outcomes. So a couple things here that you're highlighting here is around mobile. There's much more expectations and requirements around the quality and the speed and just the wow factor associated with mobile applications. And so because they have these high expectations, it's so critical to make sure that the customer has a delightful experience and kind of wowed with the actual experience with the mobile app. And so that's really critical in terms of the design function and the development tools that you would use. Next, it's obviously really important to do it very quickly, but it's also important to make sure that the mobile application performs very quickly in terms of performance. So the two key areas that we see that helps with adoption of mobile apps, one is all about the experience of that app. So how does it wow the customer and how easy is it to use? And the second one is performance. So if either one of those particular areas are not addressed effectively, then the users will move on to a different particular app, or they will definitely provide some negative feedback to the internal organization for an enterprise app, or they'll do that for a consumer app. So from our perspective, that's why it's so important to make sure we focus on mobile lifecycle management. So just to kind of provide a quick overview of the lifecycle, we all know that we typically start off in the area for designing and building an application. So nothing really new here, but here again, right, we need to really focus on a great design for great customer experience. And next, we need to make sure we're focusing on that performance. We need to make sure that function properly, so we have high quality, but we also then need to make sure that we've got great performance. And that performance is focused on the native app itself, the server associated with that app, as well as make sure we've got great performance over the carrier that particular app might be communicating over. And as well as we need to make sure that it's secure. That's more and more important and always will be important from a security perspective. Next, we need to look at the distributing of those apps. So we could look at the traditional distribution method of releases, but here we're going to try to focus more on the ability to actually support BYOD and to be able to easily distribute those apps on a device in a very controlled fashion, so that also then we can make sure we monitor overall access and control to those apps, as well as being able to control the distribution of those apps on various users. Specifically in the enterprise space, it'll be internal company devices as well as a lot of bring your own devices. And then last but not least, a lot of individuals forget about the whole idea that the app just isn't resident on your device. Yes, there are some apps that are device specific, but there are many apps that still rely on a typical back-end server, just like, say, your web applications. So from one high-level view, this is kind of the entire mobile life cycle. And what I wanted to do next is to kind of highlight how HP has end-to-end products to support this life cycle. And we've typically found this being eye-opening for customers, that they didn't realize that HP has such a suite of tools to assist in their mobile initiatives. So from a design and build perspective, like we said, this is a critical function, and typically what we're seeing is people are building mobile apps. They are doing it in an agile fashion and adapting agile. So HP's Agile Manager, a great solution that you can tap into and do those iterative sprints and building those mobile apps. And as well as being able to build those apps, you need to be able to understand the requirements, you need to be able to do the testing, and that's where HP Agile Manager tied into ALM provides you that seamless integration so that your development team can get access to what they need to work on in Agile Manager, and then the testing team via HP ALM. And then a key differentiator for HP here is their enterprise mobile app development platform called HP Anywhere. And so this is an HTML5 platform, allows you to use the common tools that you'd use for development, such as your Eclipse IDE, so developers will be very familiar with it, so they can quickly build HTML5 apps that can be supported across any different platform. So this way you can run those apps on your iOS device, your Apple device, or you can run those apps on a Droid device. And so it really provides you with build it once and then use it across multiple devices. Then from a testing perspective, we talked earlier about how important quality is as well as how important performance is. And as those of you that are probably aware with HP's tools in the testing space, they've been the leader in that space and continue to be so. What they have in terms of the functional testing is taking that unified functional testing platform and tying it in with mobile testing on the actual device. And so that's a great solution for customers where they can test the functional side as well as the mobile device and how things function on the device. Next, your performance testing using the leading performance testing tools, LoadRunner and Performance Center. Also, from a security perspective, we all know that's vitally important, and that's with HP's Fortify solution. So that's a great solution to make sure that you're building in security into your app so that the data that a consumer is using or an employee is using is secure and won't be able to be distributed outside of that particular app. And then also in terms of performance is the ability to really look at a network and integration testing. And HP has a great solution called Service Virtualization. It really helps that agile mobile app development approach where you can simulate the integrations with a back-end system or a peer system and be able to test that as you're going through the iterative process versus taking the time and effort to schedule those individual physical integration tests, as well as being able to test the performance of the app across the carrier and across the associated network. In terms of distribution, the first thing I'd like to focus on in terms of distribution is BYOD and access controls. So this is where HP Anywhere fits in, a key differentiator. With the HP Anywhere platform, not only does it allow you to develop apps, it also allows you to be able to easily manage the distribution of those apps, and it is distributed via container. So you can have 10 or 15 different apps by role in the organization, and that can be in just one container on their mobile device. So I don't need to manage 10 different apps. I'm just managing one app on that device. And that way I can also control the access to it as well as then bring it back off that device when that individual leaves the organization. So it's a key differentiator is the ability to really support BYOD and access controls. And then also you can tap into HP's other automation solutions here to really provision and automate the provisioning of your back end of your mobile device. So the back end servers, the databases, as well as the application layer. And so you can automate that function. And then from the monitor and measure perspective, I alluded to it earlier, where you can tap into and really manage and monitor the performance of that server. But also now HP's got some great technology now to be able to actually manage the business transaction on the mobile app and be able to track and monitor the actual performance the customer is experiencing while using the app on a day-to-day basis. And then last but not least is taking all the different transactions that are occurring in your app and rolling up into the Vertica Big Data Analytics platform. So as you can see here, there's a significant set of tools that can assist organizations based on where they need assistance in terms of their mobile initiatives and their mobile development efforts. So in summary, as we've been talking here, there is a complete life cycle for mobile, and ResultsPositive is positioned to assist you in that, anywhere from upfront design and app development through functional testing, performance testing, as well as the mobile application monitoring. And as I mentioned before, we have various different mobile apps that we've created and ones that we can use as starter kits for you in building in your own internal enterprise apps.